So hey guys, welcome on board. A bit of a different flight for us today. Today we're at Aberdeen in the Cessna F406 Caravan by Caranado. I'm just going to get the, there we go. So you can see, we can make it look more like the aircraft itself. There we go. For some reason my sim was paused, which is why nothing changes. But we can take the cargo pod on or off. We'll leave it on because we'll pretend we're doing an airline flight on behalf of Logan Air out of Aberdeen to Edinburgh. Now we're using we're not using default scenery, we're actually using Orbex scenery, but it looks remarkably default. We'll do a right turn, then taxi off down to that runway there and take off. Now the reason I'm kind of wanting to look at this aircraft a bit closer is this baby here. It's the GTN 750. Just click our way through and start a flight plan. So going from DICE, and we'll do I'm just going to have to use the inbuilt route finder in FSX, so just hang on a second please.
TOS, system test OK. Because
the plan was for me to use the route finder and then it would all look Gucci and gorgeous, and but no, it apparently doesn't want to work. So going to Perth, then Grice, and then inbound from Grice. So PTH Perth, United Kingdom. We're up in Vietnam. Then after that it's Grice. No, backspace. United Kingdom, there we go. It's fast found Grice for us. And then Echo Golf Papa Hotel, which is Edinburgh. Hit enter on that. So that's the flight plan kind of completed there. Now we need to look at what's the message? I'm just going to get the message. So yeah, it's license fees by me, nobody else, and it's for entertainment use only. Awesome. Alright, so now that we've got the flight plan, we're going to do some procedures. Departure from Echo Golf Papa Delta to Perth 34. There we go. Load in. So that then goes in before Perth, and then we go en route. Then we can do the arrivals. So it's actually route back. Actually, we can do that one whilst we're en route. As I say, this is the GTN 750 by Flight 1 software. I quite like using it. Some people don't, some people do. It's down to your personal opinion. It's a payware add-on, but I don't think I've used it as much as I perhaps should have. So we're going to start and do a taxi out now. Because I've loaded this in with engines already started. Ooh. There we go. Just taxi off down that line. I chose not to use GSX for this trip because I didn't feel I needed it. And we've just got a map mode now. You can see we've actually got a ground manoeuvring chart for Aberdeen, which I didn't realise we'd have. I think it's rendered it in from the from what it knows of the local area. But I mean, if I zoom in on here as we're taxiing, because we're taxiing in roughly a straight line, you can see we can almost use it for taxi instructions and go, right, it's got to go down this taxiway to the end and entering 3-4 from there, which I find pretty cool. So yeah, because it's ground manoeuvring, which is something that obviously the GTN 750 does offer, and I really do like the fact that it offers that. I'm also going to just swing the OBS to GPS mode. I think the GPS sees itself in 750, I'm not sure. I did install the 750 when I installed the aircraft, so it should be there. I'm actually taxiing this on idle, I'm just using brakes to keep us from going too fast. So it's a pretty cool little add-on this. I really do like it. So I am using also, before I forget, Active Sky Next for the weather today. and it's a 19 knot crosswind for us on the runway, which it's well, I know a few people who are actually stranded in Aberdeen this week because it was quite bad weather, and we're going actually we don't need to change the squawk, we'll do VFR technically, even though we're following an IFR route, but I don't care anymore. Flaps, we can set those to take off. First lump out. Looking up, clear on the approach, because we're flying offline and I've got the AI traffic turned off because I don't like the default FSX AI. This, by the way, is flying in FSX again because I decided that having prepared version 3 in FSX was kind of like the best of all three worlds. Okay, and a power set, just pushing all the way forward. There we go, foot the floor. Props, gently under control. 60 knots. Cross check. 80 knots. We'll rotate it 90. Positive right. Tapping the toe brakes. Gear up. Just fan the aircraft ever so gently to 1,220 feet, which is about here. I am just going to set the aircraft to be in a trimmed climb at this sort of a rate, and then we can look at just saying back. Flight plan. Activate lag to glass. Okay, how do I do direct to Glask? I'm just instrumental at this stage. Wow, this scenery looks absolutely horrible. I'm just going to fly a turn to the south because I know that's the rough direction which we need to head in, whilst I pop up the GTN 750 so I can use it in the bigger mode. And flight plan and Glask. Okay, that's a better option. Back, map. There we go, there's Glask. So you can see we're quite a large scale on the map now, but we'll just hand fly the aircraft around. We're roughly on the right heading now to intercept and head down towards Glask, which is good. So I want to unpop this up. Alright, that's how to unpop that up. Probably the easiest option. Okay, so as I say, it's a very, very nice GPS system. It just requires some getting used to. Alright, that's a weird windshield. Okay, we're on the right course now. We're climbing through some low cloud, which is fine. We're climbing up to about 12,000 feet today. Okay, there's nothing to stop me setting 12,000 in there on the altitude selection. And get rid of that. We can even turn this on. I just realised this works. As I say, this aircraft doesn't actually seem to have an autopilot system, which is peculiar considering the fact that it's got an altitude system, a capture system. I'm turning off course already. There we go, there's the GPS 1 pointer, so we can just fly the pointer. As I say though, I was surprised this aircraft doesn't have an autopilot. Obviously the reason I'm being pulled off course is A, the wind, because we're actually flying into a 58 knot headwind component, which is just crazy. Wow, our ground speed's only 80 knots. I'm just going to accelerate the aircraft a bit because I do want to actually get to Edinburgh before I die of old age. yeah. Anything else? Oh, right, that's autopilot, of course. It's down here on this aircraft. So I'm just going to engage autopilot, engage yaw damper, and then engage IAS mode. The aircraft should be taking over. Oh, should have itself under control within a few minutes. Yaw damper, that should be on. Okay, yaw damper's not coming on for some reason, but that's bearable. I'm letting the aircraft try and sort itself out here. Something tells me this wasn't such a brilliant idea. But at the minute it's just, you know, putting itself through some manoeuvres. But I'm going to trust it's not going to overcompensate every single freaking time. I'm actually going to pull a little bit of power off. And then, so we've got inset going on now. It's incredibly dodgy one to deal with this, because you can't just, like, you know, scroll in. Back. No, I suppose you can a bit. So what I do like as well is it's on a global scale, that's the A96. Tomorrow we're going to be on the A94 in the truck. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut the video here, folks, and I will see you back when we're getting a little bit closer to top of descent, because it's going to be seemingly a very long flight due to the windage right now. So I'll see you all in a bit, folks. Bye bye. Okay, so just on the cruise now. I'm just going to mute the audio again because why not? And down there, that's Dundee, to give you an idea of roughly where we are. I think that's Dundee anyway. Looks like the bridge in Dundee. Yeah, it's about the right area. That's Dundee there, by the way, EGOL. Anyway, so what I was going to say was, that's Dundee. That's the rail bridge, which we'll be going over in a few days in train sim. But I just want to say this wind is crazy. It's a 52 knot, pretty much bang on the nose headwind coming from that direction. And look, it's a headwind of 52 knots. Now my airspeed's 162. My ground speed's 154. Now I'm at 16,000 feet. And that's IAS, not total airspeed. I mean, total airspeed will be like, what, 200 odd knots, and it's just unbelievable. Inside airspace, right, that's fine, Mr. GPS. So I was just AFK for a little while, because, yeah, calling of nature. But otherwise, looking around the aircraft, it is very, very nice to fly around in. That's the autopilot down there. There's so many switch buttons to push. I should probably turn these on. But yeah, views are very nice. So guys, I'll be back in a bit when we start descending. See you then. So hey guys, welcome back. We're about to top a drop into, well, start topping and dropping into Edinburgh. We're just past overhead Perth. If I look at the GPS, there's Dundee. We've just flown down by Dundee. Dundee is hidden by the wing there and some cloud. It's still incredibly windy, so flying incredibly slowly. This flight's taken about 40 minutes now, and we're about 2/3 of the way there. So you can see Edinburgh popping up on the map there as well. So what I can start doing is start descending us, because as I said, I can start looking at descending us, but we're just flying through a little bit of turbulence. If this turbulence gets significantly worse, I'm just going to knock it on the head and we're out here, boys. We outie. So we'll just start a descent rate of about 500 feet per minute. Engage PS. Oh, whoa! 1,000 feet per minute is like maximum what I want to be doing here. 1,500. Maybe at a push. So it'll put us into a high-speed descent profile, which is roughly what we're looking for. Now, the weather in Edinburgh is pretty good. It's VFR, so we'll come in and we'll fly visual join. And what I'll actually show you on here, what we'll do. Come on. No. That's my click spot. There. So we're going to fly in from this angle, from Grice Way. Overflying Hang on, to get it on the bigger screen, because I'm struggling to read that myself. Which will make it even harder for you guys. Over Dunfermline. That's what that seems to. Firm line. and fly down the green line, which down this sort of area here. Well, this here is where the 4th rail bridge is. And we'll use that to establish, and then we'll come around for a landing on runway 24 at Edinburgh. So it's 22 actually, sorry. And then turning off 22, we'll come down to this end of the airport. Can we zoom in enough to see that? Yes, we can. Landing, coming off, vacating probably Charlie, taxiing up here, and up to uniform and parking over on this apron here. Police, there's a hotel there, which is good for you to know if you're diverting into Edinburgh, I guess. No, but I can tell you there's a hotel there because, as I say, I flew through Edinburgh not so long ago. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to activate the direct to. Yep, activate that like. So now looking at the map, it's actually going to try and fly us straight to inbound towards the track to Edinburgh. And I'm going to go back to altitude mode on here and set an altitude of 3000, and then I'm going to take over the flying of the aircraft because we're 20 miles north of the zone, which is a little on the high side actually. Of course I'm going to get rid of. Yeah, there we go. I do like the F406 Caravan. So far, you know, normally with most aircraft, for some reason I'm getting these awesome scenery glitches by Orbex. I'm going to work those out before the next video, don't worry. But yeah, I'll probably have them worked out in the last video, but not this video, because I haven't actually filmed the video from the flight from Amsterdam to Newcastle yet. I'm doing that tonight, probably either in the 7-3 or the Fokker. But I don't need to tell you guys that because you guys already know. And now I know my QNH is set incorrectly because I'm descending above the transition altitude. I'm already setting it to local QNH, but trust me, it's a necessity. If I want to appear out the side of this cloud, I can see the runway. I will kind of like turn towards. You can see that's just completely spazzed out. Actually, nah, I'm not going to deal with that. So unfortunately guys, at the minute I'm having to reload my scenery CFG, so what I'll do is I'll cut the video here and we'll come back once we've fixed that. So hey guys, welcome back on board. Unfortunately, as I said, the scenery was a bit broken, so now that we can actually tell where we are, even though this isn't the nice Gucci Orbex scenery, it's still better scenery than having nothing. So I'm just going to hand fly us down for a bit. I'm just going to have a look around. I do quite like the angled views you get with Caravan jets. I love how the rudder's fluttering because of the yaw damper system, trying to deal with things. That's me though, right there. Whee! I'm just going to pull some power off now, because that could be a problem. Right, so we're now inside. Yeah, we've got a bit of speed going on now. Put a bit of power into the system. Yeah, so just appearing from under that cloud there is the 4th rail bridge. I'm going to track inbound towards that, then I'll track onto a downwind, then base, then finals, then landing, hopefully, is the battle plan. So I'm just going to get us trimmed for a descent at about 160 knots. Sorry for hitting my mic there, guys. Oops, flight director off. Alright, your damper isn't working anyway, is it? No, it's not. So I'm on rudders now. But remember that. So I'm gonna get down underneath the cloud layer. As I say, this wind is just absolutely crazy. I mean, at the minute it's a 60 knot headwind, so we are, you know, whereas normally it wouldn't affect me in the descent much, the wind, because it's normally like 10-15 knots, but at the minute it's pretty crazy. So a few things to, well actually nothing really needs to be done at this stage. It's just, sorry if you're getting the alert horns for gears knocked down. There we go, horn disable's on. That should disable the warning horn for the landing gear. Does it? No, it doesn't. Didn't think it would. This is Caravan to fly. If it was A2A, I'd expect it to, but I don't think I've actually flown a retractable landing gear A2A for quite a while. I'm just going to zoom my map in a bit. Yeah, so I was saying we'll come in up a roughly depth fur line. A little bit instrumental right now because, I mean, if we didn't have the instruments, you know, you're just looking outside. It is fairly difficult to work out which way's up. And I've actually fallen foul to that a few times when doing stuff like this. Going through a cloud. I mean, you know, in lots what you can tell, but if you're in, you know, if you're entering cloud. There we go, okay, so I've drifted a bit to the right of the rail bridge, sorry. We drove over the road bridge twice recently. Once obviously on the way north, and well, once you see the video that I filmed yesterday. There's another box truck trip down to South Cardiff. Cardiff, Wales. Look how much side slip's going on right now. I'm honestly quite concerned about what the wind speed's going to be like at the aerodrome. I'm just going to point straight towards the end, well, not the end, just a little bit before the end, but just enough for that. What would we do is we drive it north, we catch a taxi back north up to Aberdeen to take, as I said, the next load of box truck stuff down to Cardiff in Wales. And then I'm going to be filming a few more videos and hopefully, I haven't decided where I'm going to go from Cardiff yet because I've got the option to do another box truck run. So I quite like driving the box trucks because I find it a lot easier to drive the box trucks than I do to drive the just a normal truck. But then my Euro truck videos get like next to no views, so I don't know. Sorry if the alarm's going off, guys, but as I said, I've got the audio muted so that I don't, so it's, you guys don't get the echo, so I can't tell if it's going off or not. Right, flat 1 speed, here's 117, we're well below that now, so flat 1. I'm just going to side slip the jet now. Come on. Ooh. Which pulls a little bit of uncomfortable G for the passenger, but such like the difference between 1.0 and 1.1 G. We're just side slipping to lose altitude a bit quicker. I'm fully idle now, sorry if the alarm's going off. But I don't care, I need to get down. Get another one. Take gear. Just get rid of that alarm for you guys. And go full flat. Just let it come straight out. That's about a nice altitude now. There's the further fourth rail bridge. The road bridge to the right, which we, as I say, we drove over yesterday in our Renault. I am going to change the Renault up for a different truck, but I just like, as I say, the Renault because it's got the Renault tuning pack at the minute, which makes it really, you know, very pretty when you drive it. I don't know why, but I just couldn't get like a paranoia of getting too low in this jet. Or in this aircraft, because like I just have this paranoia, as I say, of getting too slow and then it's dropping out of the sky. Oh, that's cool, we're now down at low level, it's showing us where all the wind farms are. That's cool. It's pretty crazy winds at the minute. Winds are 230 at 50, so it probably makes it just about within our limits for a landing. But I mean, we are flying sideways at the minute. Which means I'm going to keep the energy up until the last minute with this approach. I say cabin crew, please take your seats, but no, we haven't got cabin crew. This aircraft's too small for cabin crew. we are the cabin crew. So use my co-pilot technically, the cabin crew. I think it's pilot not flying does the cabin crew duties then. So basically, if we need to get out in a hurry, go through that door there, kind of thing. I hope the wind's just going to drop last minute. Actually, in a way, I don't. Because at the minute we're actually got a ground speed of probably, well, definitely less than 100 knots. Oh no, how does... Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that was the ground speed readout then, it was like, you know, 200, 118 knots, and I was like, what? No, not right there. Yeah, ground speed 66 knots. It's dropping to a more bearable 30, so I'm just going to chicane the aircraft, like S-turn I suppose. Onto the final. I know we're high onto the final, but I don't really care. At this stage, we're in a position where we can safely land the aircraft. You know, if we were kind of, if we're in a position where I didn't deem we could land, then I'd be going around at this stage and just playing a circuit, trying, coming back and trying again. So power comes off now, just dive down. I'm actually aiming for the cargo shed, which is that one there. I think my cursor's visible. So the middle one. That's kind of my aiming point, and then I'm going to do a hard right turn line up. But I've also got to be aware of the fact that, you know, I can't get blown too much by the wind because it's still a 30 knot crosswind component, which I think is probably over, well, 30 knot wind component, which is probably over our limits right now. I mean, the aircraft's turning, and I'm not actually flying any lateral implant. Well, I am now, but keeping the energy the way it is. Power up, power up, power up, power. Looking good. Gears down, flaps down, everything's down. I'm actually aiming for the first touchdown markers because, as I say, I want to vacate at ASAP. Fully power off now, just letting the aircraft trace its own descent profile. Fly around. Bit excessive there. Full reverse now. Probably pulled reverse a little bit too soon. I'm not actually playing any wheel braking, I'm just going to the reverse to get us down. Okay, and that's toe brakes crikey. Release. That's where it's braking released. Vacating left. That was pretty violent. The action there as we came out of thrust reverse. We've got taxi in now. You know, when I flew from Edinburgh a few days ago, I'll show you the gate we went from. So it's a weird ramp. Because the preferential runway is 24. Well, the one we just landed on, which is 2406, I believe. And it's just such a dodgy place to drive around as a pilot. I know I'm off-roading at the minute, well off-taxiwaying, but I don't care. And then at this stage you actually enter the runway, you don't enter the runway, but you enter the runway. That, you know, I think the ramp's actually a one-way system. Also, when I came here, the stand, like there, the one that's two down from the Embraer, shucks. Well, that ended well. But like the stand we're facing now, actually had a Dreamliner on it, which I thought was a bit, just a little bit cray-cray. Yeah, no, that UPS 7676 is parked. There was a DHL 757 parked there, and as I say, I was sitting there just reading my magazine, waiting for my aircraft to arrive, which parked where that Dash 8 is. That was like a massive, that was just, you know, a massive like flashy lights going tearing down the runway at high speed. And they all like surrounded the 75 that was parked there. Experience crash exercises, yeah. My time at Edinburgh Airport. Because they didn't like stop spraying it, they just parked at the front, looked at it and like. I'm just going to park one of the stands up here. I actually saw 737 parked up here when I was at Edinburgh. There's a window in the end of the terminal which I haven't filmed, which is about there. You can have a look up here. Inside the terminal. I'm just going far left stand. Good far stand, yeah. That's a right hand turn. Stopping the aircraft there. Stand 3/4 when we're stopping. Get GSX involved quickly. Okay. Alright, things have offended to stand too far to a bit far forward to stand, okay, so number 1 to feather, number 2 to feather, number 1 to cut off, number 2 to cut off. As I say, that's just the power rolling off now. Prop RPM should be dropping on both sides. Yes, it is. You can see it looks, even the props just look different. Park brake is set. I can bring the yoke back in. That's all as required. Flaps are up. Everything's done. So I'm just gonna get out the aircraft now. Hear the master warning. Get out the aircraft, and that's us made it to Edinburgh. Thanks for tuning in, folks. And we'll hopefully see you in the next one. See you then, folks. Bye.